Hello everyone, Zellerant here, and for today's video on Girls Frontline 2, we have two new T-Dolls that have been announced on the CN version. Kind of fell behind on this because I was so used to them coming out with this information like right after Globals comes out, but because we have an extended patch, I didn't realize they announced this yesterday, but now I know about it, and we're going to go ahead and get into it. So the new two T-Dolls are going to be from the original game, DP-12, which from what I understand is a fan favorite, now named Helen in this game. And then we have Phaetusa, or Phaetusa. I'm going to say that name wrong. I mean, it is what it is on that. A new Girls Frontline 2 original. And so Helen is going to be a freeze bulwark with many freeze support skills in her kit. I've already seen people say it, but it's like Suomi is getting power crept. Now, we do have her partial kit, which we'll be looking at here in a second. The second unit here, Phaetusa, she is a corrosion AoE melee sentinel. So we're getting another corrosion unit that is AoE, and she is melee. So we're going to have another sword user finally. But we will not have the kit for her because she's going to be on the second part of this patch. This is going to be one of those major updates. And then with that, they're going to have a select banner with Dush, Leva, Mishti, and Nikita, and their weapons in the banner. And this is one of those banners where you select which one you want to target, and you're guaranteed to get them, and no 50-50 system in it. These are always the best ones to pull on, especially if you don't have the unit. And so we have those. And we have a bunch of other updates coming alongside with these T-Dolls here. And so with this update, a bunch of crew deck updates, nothing really crazy in here that I could see to really mention, just more stuff to the kind of the open world walking around and interactions there. But we have Helen introduction and her kit here. So Helen is a freeze element bulwark class that uses shotgun. And if I'm not mistaken, we have Lada, who was the freeze shotgun unit. Man, I'm starting to forget some of the SR units already at this point. But so she's coming in. She does base, and then we have the basic attack deals freeze damage. So right off the bat, most people's basic attacks don't do their elemental damage. It's physical, but it just mentions that it does freeze damage now on this one. Then her passive increases max HP and defense, dispels debuffs on self, restores a fixed amount of HP. The more instances of damage Helen takes, the more buffs she gives herself. So she's wanting to get out there and take damage to buff herself so that maybe she can do more damage. It's kind of hard to tell based on what it says here. But then we have her ultimate, selects one ally and increases their attack and defense. So she buffs attack and defense. Everything you just want attack. I haven't really had any struggles on defensive, but get attack and defense. And then reduces ultimate cooldown of freeze element allies. So now we're having cooldown reduction of our allies. Now it requires them to be freeze, so it's going to be tied specifically to the freeze team. But that is pretty nice that we're starting to see now cooldown manipulation with units. That can be, we'll have to kind of see how I have to look over, once she comes out, look over the other freeze T-Dolls and kind of see what that does for them, because there can be massive implications by reducing the cooldown of a skill. It can completely change the rotation to increase their damage quite significantly. And we've already had a pretty big buff to the freeze team with the last unit, so we'll have to see how she works there. And then after using the skill, she gets extra command, meaning she gets to do another one of her skills or her basic attack. She has skill 2, which provides allies with a shield. Suomi is probably going to be dead in the water compared to her, because they're definitely going to want to make her quite powerful. And she is definitely a fan favorite. And we'll take a look at her picture here. Although, people are probably going to want her skin kind of looking at her default, when I already know what she looks like in Girls Frontline 2 and some of the figures they've made for her. She generates freeze tiles, same thing Suomi did, dispels debuffs on allies, and after using the skill, Helen can perform an additional attack. And so now she can attack right after that one as well. Skill 1 converts damage taken by allies and converts it to extra command, and it says question mark. Can she make it that when an ally takes damage, they're able to do an attack again or another turn? Who knows? We'll have to see how that works. It doesn't really give much details on it other than them saying it looks like that gives them something. Maybe it's a support attack, who knows. And then her weapon increases the user's defense and damage dealt with basic attacks, so I'm wondering if she scales based on defense. So overall, definitely looks like she's the power creep to Suomi. She's Suomi replacement. Now, it doesn't say anything about healing, so that Suomi V1 may be better in that sense, still on the tankiness side of things. but she may be more damage, which is one of the things that Suomi lacks, is she can be very, very tanky for your team because she gives that shield, and at V1 now she can do pretty big heals. This might be, just give them those shields that they need for, like, Macchiato wanting shields to be able to do her support actions and all that, with all the other conditions on the other dolls. She's probably able to do that, but now provide more support for doing more damage, which is going to be pretty nice coming out of her. They have the new major story event, Anti-Parallel. Happens after the events of the major story event, Corposcent. So this is one of those big patches, the double unit patches. That's why we don't have the details on the next unit, which is Phaetusa. She'll be on the second part of it. But it did have a teaser to it after rescuing Helena and escaping Leave. Oh, okay, so this is like where we're at right now after Lviv, or Leave. Yeah, Lviv. I think it's Lviv. The Elmo goes to the doll community while there's something happened to the community, and the Elmo was there by coincidence. The two forces cooperate to resolve. So we're actually meeting the community where Ulrich and all of them are. So how does Helen come? So we're finally gonna have Helen, Helena, back in it. Cause yeah, man, I'm mixing up. Helena and then Helen. Okay, I gotta make sure I read them correctly here. So Helena is finally gonna be like back in the story again, which is pretty good because she's been like absent like in all the events we've done at this point. And then it says we don't know how Helen's coming into this yet because she's not part of the community or anything. Neural expansion key, Leva is getting hers, man, and she's already one of the big power ones at V6. So I'm waiting for Klukai's to come, which is not on. I wish Klukai's was coming with this one and not Chawa, but we'll have to see on hers because we won't know about hers on the next one. But for Leva, support attacks and overclock strikes range is increased. Critical damage dealt is increased against enemies afflicted with negative charge, and the more electric element allies there on the field, the higher Leva's electrical damage and stability damage dealt is. That's going to be key, and I think that is it's going to be a change that is definitely probably going to warrant having like Jian Yu over a V3 Yuhi, because that's one big thing when I do my video, which I should hopefully have up tomorrow morning on should you pull Jian Yu or not. This type of thing here, because Leva's like your main damage dealer, especially if you want to heavily invest in the electric and go for V6 or something on her. This right here is making Jian Yu a pick over Yuhi, since Yuhi, while she can do pretty good generic support for them, this one specifically says they have to be electric element allies, which now Jian Yu fills, Yuhi doesn't. So that might be something that tips you over to edge to want to get Jian Yu over investing in more dupes on Yuhi. So pretty good right there. We'll have to see what happens with that when it comes out. We'll actually know all these details while Jian Yu's still on banner, so you can hold off on pulling for her and kind of see how it works out with this and kind of make that decision. And then Chawa, stay tuned for the next update. So Chawa's getting her update. I wonder if it's going to make her really good, where she can actually be really good in the fire team, even at like V0, V1, or whatnot. Because right now, pretty much the only time I use Chawa is when I'm borrowing her at V6 with my burn team on the Gunsmoke Frontline. And then we got the new system being added, Neural Expansion Key Mod 2. This one is, Ulrich will get the first mod key. So this is like a new expansion to them. So it's another way to give more, like another way to kind of power creep units themselves to make them a little bit better so they don't fall behind. So Ulrich gets one that inflicts Mark of Prey before each instance of using her active skill Blade Whirlwind. After using said skill, the cooldown of her ultimate Hidden Pursuit is reduced by 1 turn. If Ulrich hits the same target continuously, which you're going to do in Gunsmoke Frontline a lot, she gains 1 Confectance Index. This effect can be triggered once per round. I've never really used Ulrich much, and it's been a while since I've looked at her kit. I don't know how that really impacts it. But we have the next part. Before using the ultimate skill Hidden Pursuit, Ulrich gains maximum stacks of Hunter's Talent. And then Hunter's Talent's effect is enhanced is if Ulrich's critical rate is higher than 100%. So if you're putting her in the actual physical team, which she's physical, so you should be, then you should be able to trigger this with them. I believe, looking at their buffs. I would have to kind of... It's been a while since I've looked at her kit to really know. But you definitely can do it since there's a condition for it. For every 1% critical rate overflow, her critical damage is increased by 0.3%. And increases damage dealt by all allied units that deal melee damage. Ooh. Increases damage dealt by allied units that deal melee damage by 10%. For every stack of Hunter's talent consumed, all gains one. Are we going to have the potential to build a full melee team with the new Fantasia? What is the name? Phaetusa? Is it Fantasia? I don't know. I can't say that. Phaetusa. And do that and then take Krolik and have a full melee team? Who knows? And then for every... Yeah, all gains one Confectance Index there. And then Diane is in queue for the next copy of this neural expansion key. This seems pretty significant. I'm gonna have to see it in action once it comes out. Maybe I'll do another look at Allred when it comes out to kind of see how it elevates her in terms of like where she should fall kind of in the tier list or damage compared to other units. We're not gonna have access to I think it's already down. Prudwin is not gonna be supporting it anymore, but I do know Luton Waifus is still updating his website, or the person that updates it on it is still working on it. So we'll kind of see what they have to say about it as well. And we do have some pictures of Helen here. Now, here's the big thing. I did mention people are probably going to be like, yeah, I'm not a big fan of the skin. Because, as you can see right here, from what I've seen on the figures and pictures from her in Girls Frontline 1, those are probably the biggest in the game. And so they're covering up the fan service here. Probably to sell the skin, which we're going to take a look at here in a second. Still looks pretty good with the armor. I know a lot of people do like the more armor sets versus just the full fan service ones. We have her and Phaetusa here. The new blade user looks pretty cool with the sword. Got Allred. So probably going to see some pretty cool things you're going to be able to do with melee in the future. They have mentioned they want to buff melee. Just a look at the expansion key here. Oh, where's the skin? Thought it showed the skin somewhere. Oh yeah, here's the skin they're selling. As you can see, yeah, they definitely covered him up so they could sell this skin on this one. And yeah, pretty cool there. But we got some more details here. New system, common key calibration. Oh yeah, so they're adding more ways to like upgrade the stats on your common keys. So now you can add up to 5% per stat. A new affinity key slot. So when you get your doll's affinity up, you can increase their stats through the affinity slots. Okay, but the big one I've seen here is PvP rework. Ranked PvP has been scrapped. I think they gave up. After Voimastina and then like Klukai, it's literally just be like, well, at least for Voimastina, just put her out there, instant win immediately. Klukai was pretty much an instant win as long as you just went and threw her skill 2 on them, so pretty crazy right there. And then... So all rewards will be moved to the unranked PvP instead, and then ranked PvP weapon skins will not be available for some time. Titles and other items from ranked PvP will be available in the exchange for the redundant pieces, which is nice. If you missed, it's kind of funny. You need to be in the top 50% to get whatever, and I know a lot of people, especially in the beginning, decided not to go for it, and was like, those are the FOMO items that you're never going to be able to get because once that PvP is over, they start a new one. Well, it looks like you're going to just be able to outright buy them for redundant pieces, which is pretty cool. I like having things not be missable in games, and so that's pretty nice. Or if it's not missable, at least it repeats, and you always have the chance to get it again. Kind of thinking like with Uma Musume, while you may not win the Champions meetings one time, it'll eventually come back, at least to a certain extent in that game. So it's good to see that you'll be able to at least get those, so you can always feel like you have the opportunity to get anything you've missed in the past, because they all just keep getting put into those shops. So less FOMO is always good, in my opinion. And so we got new outfits. We got Helen's, which I already showed. Tololo's getting one, and Fantasia, Lolita style outfit. I don't think they have hers, because she's the next patch, so they're probably going to showcase all that stuff on the next one. And here's this big one. They have a big note here on this one. All of the above outfits are purchased from the store, not the outfit gacha. So, like they said, the outfit gacha hopefully continues to be something that's very rare. Maybe just do it like twice a year, because over the course of a year, you can save up enough currency to get it for free. So if they only do it twice per year, that means only one of them is basically pay to get it, unless you're lucky on the gacha system. So then it's not as bad in that case, but we'll have to continue to see. This is a major patch, so it is crazy. I was thinking they were going to have a gacha one because it's not one of the big patches. So that's good to see there. Past events updates. Vector's and Nikita's character events will now be added to the past events. Future plans will add outfit change function to the commander. So the commander can change his outfit. I'm guessing for walking around now in the new area. And we'll add functionality in the swimming pool. So I guess you can go swimming. Both functions will be added together. Commander in a swimsuit is teased to be a high possibility. Oh boy. This will be... I don't think people really care about the fan service on the commander. I mean, unless you... Well, maybe the female commander. They will be added by the end of the year. Sakura Type 100 preview. Okay, so we have another one. Don't really know much about Type 100. Preview's been teased. She will be added by the end of the year. Girls Frontline IP Orchestral coming soon by the end of the year as well. And so here was some more of the stuff they showed. The common keys, where you can start like buffing the keys, like customizing them to a certain extent. Oh no, this is the new neural expansion. Because we have the normal. I like how they're showing it on Klukai here, it looks like. But the original, like the new expansion key is in the middle, if I remember correctly. I'd have to look at it in game to see, but I'm pretty sure that one's in the middle. So this is the new one they're showing here. Then we have Phaetusa. So we have her, pretty cool, with the sword here. I don't know, it's not a katana, but it's kind of pretty cool sword there on her. They have her skin. This is definitely going to be a seller because people are not, they want these out. And the other one has them fully covered with full-on armor. And yeah, she's the big shotgun user. Tololo. I wonder if this is a Girls Frontline 1. I'm pretty sure I've seen this before, so I'm pretty sure that comes from that game. Then we have, okay, one of her skins here. Kind of just showcasing it because it's not probably finished yet. But she'll be coming here in 3 weeks. A couple other skin ideas for her. That's everything there. Oh, this is really small. Okay, this is just re-showing everything on the one thing they put on X. And that is pretty much it for that update. Quite a bit here, a lot coming. Does look like they're trying to slowly make improvements. I mean, the game does need a lot of work on complexity and some difficulty to actually warrant all these buffs they're giving to them because it's already too easy. But it does look like they are working towards that. I mean, we have the EX mode, which are using them. Got Gunsmoke, which is... I mean, I don't see any mentions to that. That's the one area I think needs rework. Well, I'll have to see. I haven't really paid attention too much to the EX modes as well to see if it really warrants all the extra damage. Because right now, I mean, the game's just too easy is the one big thing. But overall, I'm liking what I see, though. They are slowly making changes and updates. They're continuing to try and make the older T-Dolls relevant. I mean, they're giving this update to Allred. I'll have to see how good it is for her. And, I mean, it's showing there's potential for a full melee team. And so... we'll see what happens with that. But that's pretty much it. That's the new T-Doll Helen and then Fantasia. Once we get all the details and the numbers, I'll go ahead and cover that and kind of theory craft how she'll work within the Ice team. My guess is she's a Suomi replacer. And then you just basically... everything will work the same, except maybe potentially with the cooldown reduction. Somewhere that had cooldown reduction, that could change... how the Ice team works in terms of their rotations and how much damage they could do. It could be quite significant depending on how it impacts them. I just really have to think about it when we actually get the actual numbers. But for now, that'll be it. And if you like my content, if you could like, comment, subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.